Go ahead.
Hello, I'm going to move this up a little bit. Hello, Mayor and council members. Thank you for the ability to speak. My name is Donnie Creekmore with Lost Coast Populist News. That's lostcoastpopulist.com. And I'm just going to read a letter that I sent to the council earlier yesterday. I am a free man. I am an American patriot. I stand for liberty and justice for all who are born on this land and see them as my brothers and sisters despite any differences we may have. I am free to do many things in the great land of America and, by extension, here in Humboldt County, California, the place that I call home. I am free to work hard, earn a living, speak my mind freely, live my life the way I see fit, and raise my children in that vein. I am also free to love. I'm free to love my wife of 14 years. I'm free to love my boys, Azure, Ezra, and Bear. And I'm free to love my friends, my family, and their families, and everything that comes together to make our community incredible. But I'm also free to hate. I'm free to hate pedophiles. I'm free to hate those that would support and condone pedophilia and the ideas they use to justify it. I am free to condemn these activities and confront anything similar that comes to be, which appears to be questioning this resolve, whether it be in manner, language, or spirit. Anything less is my not living up to my duty as a father to protect my children. An all-age drag show, which is free to the public and apparently even supported by tax dollars, is something that crosses that line brazenly. All-age drag shows take indecent exposure laws and treat them like a high-wire act for the pure sake of decadence. How hollow can adults be? There's your answer. As a father of 3 boys, the thought that I could send them down the road to play in Eureka, the Jefferson Community Center, and that they'd be exposed to adult males or anything else for that matter, dressed as scantily clad females or their risk costume choice du jour, and dancing provocatively for cash tips is absolutely unacceptable. It's appalling and it's disgusting. Then to wake up one morning and find out the folks who put this event together are now portraying the parents that are concerned as a hate group. That is straight up pure Marxist doublespeak propaganda. There was nothing family friendly about this event. The bottom line, which our opponents would love for you to completely ignore, is if they had made the drag show part of the event 18 and over, there would never have been a protest to begin with. We are not protesting your right to exist. However, we are protesting your faulty methods to indoctrinate to our youth. Stop targeting our children like a bunch of thirsty groomers, and we'll stop treating you like a bunch of thirsty groomers. Thank you.
Heidi.
Good evening, Council. My name's Heidi Benzanelli, and I'm the president of the board of the Jefferson Community Center. Westside Community Improvement Association is the name of our nonprofit. And on Saturday, October 22nd, after my 6th day at work, long day, I got a phone call that said that there were some people that were planning to protest a Halloween costume party at the community center on Sunday, the 23rd. And frankly, I got scared. People were asking me to come and stand and be a peacekeeper. And I've only taken one de-escalation class, and I failed miserably because I got mad in the class. But really, I got up Sunday morning, I suited up, and I went down there to be the president of the board and represent our organization and keep the peace. And what happened is slowly but surely EPD started to pull up, and I felt so grateful and so protected in that moment. And so Monday morning, I wrote a letter. Stephen Parra, actually, the community center coordinator, and I wrote a letter together to Watch Commander Eckert, to the Eureka Police Department, and to the staff that supported them on that day. And I'd like to read it into the record. To Watch Commander Eckert, EPD officers, and support staff, this letter is to express our most sincere gratitude for the police response and command presence of your officers at this weekend's Pride celebration at the Jefferson Community Center. The event is an opportunity for the community to engage in freedom of expression in the spirit of celebration, tolerance, and diversity. Being the common ground for all people in our community is sometimes very challenging for our leadership. Having the support of EPD with a genuinely community-centric presence allowed everyone to express themselves, their beliefs, safely. We were all safe. Westside Eureka residents are fortunate to have such a universally respected team of law enforcement professionals. With the most sincere gratitude, Stephen Para, Center Coordinator, and Heidi Benzanelli for the Board of Directors of the Westside Community Improvement Association. I'd like to present the original copy of this to Captain Stevens to share with the force, and I'm leaving 6 copies, one for each of the city council members, please.
Thank you. It's Chief Stevens now.
Oh, to Chief and by the way, I'm going to leave these
Assistant Chief.
stickers because someday I want to see these on the patrol cars. But in the meantime, they can be on your cars.
Thank you. All right.
Hello there. Glad to see everyone's here doing good today. First off, just wanted to thank City Manager Slattery for talking with me about the COVID policy and why you support holding it up. One of the reasons being that Director of Health and Human Services, Sophia Pereira, you held her opinion in high regard, which she holds a degree in communications, I believe. So I'd like to ask you, would you trust your personal health to someone who held a degree in communications? If yes, raise your hand, please. Okay, thank you. Anyways, back to the drag show thing. I have a question for everyone on this side of the pony wall. Raise your hand if you think it's appropriate or legal for adults to engage in sexually suggestive dance routines showing bare legs and underwear in front of minors. Anybody? Raise your hand if you want to normalize adults performing sexually suggestive dance in their underwear in exchange for money in the presence of young children in the community. I watched the video put out by Lark Doolin, Executive Director of Queer Humboldt, and one statement he made really stuck with me, that hurt people hurt people. And it's not a simple story of us versus them. For what I saw, people on both sides contributed to a mutual escalation at the event. The protesters were not there to protest, the lifestyles of anyone. They were there to protest the drag event for young children. If you took time to get both sides of the story, the people who protest the event tell a far different story. And they were, from what they say, they were just sitting there and it was people from within the event that approached them and it started. But I actually wasn't there for that. And maybe we could review the police body cam footage. I don't know exactly what time they got on the scene. But I take it in good faith that no one at the event was there to intentionally harm the children present. However, conditioning young children to be comfortable around sexualized dance routines can, lead them to be, in a compromised situation where they might not be on alert as they would have been if they hadn't been exposed to that. If you take time to talk to people from both sides of the engagement, to view the numerous videos that I provided in the email that I sent to all of you, then you will see that there's definitely two sides to this story, and the truth likely falls somewhere in the middle, or something like that. But anyways, glad to talk to you all tonight, and have a nice evening.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and council members and city staff. My name is Stephen Ossenberg. I am a family doctor at Eureka Open Door. I'm here with my friend Kyle Maxon. I'm not here as a doctor today, though in some ways it's always hard to take that cap off. I'm actually here as a member of the recreational sports club known as Lost Coast Polo. We are a club that plays hardcourt bicycle polo in Manila currently. And we're just here to express support for the project that's planned for 2030 Park. We understand that there's a multi-use court that's going to be planned. I've been in touch with the members of the roller hockey club that plays at Redwood Acres as well. And we just like to be supportive and involved in the project in whatever way we can be. I can speak from my experience, playing the sport of bike polo, which some of you may have heard of, but most people I talk to about it have not. It's a really fun sport. It's played across the country and across the world. I've played it from everywhere, from where I'm from in Pennsylvania to, Washington, D.C., the nation's capital. And it's very active on the West Coast. There are active clubs in Seattle and Portland and San Francisco. And whatever way we can support the project at the park, we'd be happy to be involved, because I think that people will come to this area. It's already such a beautiful area. I feel lucky to live here, and I hope to be able to share it with my friends in the bike polo community. So, I don't know how I can proceed, but, we'd love to be involved somehow, if nothing else, just to express our support for the project. So thanks for your time today.
Thank you.
I second that.
Well, that's a really lovely comment to follow. And as a former roller hockey enthusiast, I think that sounds awesome. That I didn't know that was going in at the 2030 Park. So, good evening, Mayor and City Council members. My name is Erin Kelly, and I'm a Eureka resident. And I went to the Halloween event on October 23rd at the Jefferson Community Center, and I wanted to come here and thank the organizers, including Redwood Pride and the Ink people, for creating a welcoming event that was totally kid-friendly. And I also wanted to thank the Eureka PD for being there just as kind of a quiet but peaceful presence. I think that the LGBTQ plus community has faced discrimination for a long time. I mean, I remember being in high school and bullying that I witnessed, and gay youth are often kicked out of their homes. There are estimates that about 40% of homeless youth are in the LGBTQ plus community. To turn that kind of discrimination, to turn even current discrimination, being accused of horrendous things like grooming or recruiting children just by being around them, to turn that around and to create community events of celebration and inclusion is a real gift. And even I, like a very basic, straight, middle-aged white lady, can feel very welcome at these events and feel like I can be part of this artistic and incredible community. So what I took away from this event was appreciation for my community, which includes these folks. And this was a pride event, so there were gay people and trans and queer and non-binary, and they were visible and they were dressed in their finest. It is not sexualization to have people dressed up, to have people lip syncing. I didn't see sexualization. I walked away appreciative and thankful to them that they're part of my community and that I'm part of theirs. So, thanks.
Hello, my name is Jackie Dandino, and I am not a resident of Eureka, but I am a resident of love. And I believe firmly the way forward in our world is through love, through loving each other and understanding who we are. And I don't mean the airy-fairy City of Arcata kind of love, but I mean a tough kind of love that asks questions, a love that presents issues and tolerance to our children and our people that say, what is this? What is that? Not, I hate. The words love and hate to me cannot go in the same sentence. The word love and I disagree. The word love and hey, let's work that out. The word love and wow, you are so different from me, I don't even know where to start. Those go in the same questions and the same sentence with me. But the word love and hate in our children and our families and our community do not exist on the same plane. And I think that the more we can lean towards love and asking ourselves difficult questions about who we are and what we do, is the way forward through all of the mire that we're in right now as a city, as a country, as a community, as a global world for everything. So kudos to those who love. Kudos to those who exhibit love who they want, when they want, who dress how they want, when they want. Kudos to them, and I support them 101 lovely %. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Caroline Griffith. I'm a resident of Eureka, and I'm also incredibly excited about bike polo at 2030 Park, which I didn't realize was happening. But I'm here tonight to support Redwood Pride, but want to acknowledge that I've been a little confused about why this is the venue to come to support Redwood Pride, because my understanding is that the city of Eureka actually did not put on this event. But I'm happy to go anywhere, anytime, and support this organization. I have attended numerous Redwood Pride events, like the one that happened most recently, as an ally to the LGBTQ community, but also because I have a trans teenager in my life who lives in a rural area of Humboldt County, who would be trans no matter what. And it's so beautiful to be able to come with him to a space where I can see that recognition in his face and see how he changes when he's around people who he knows are accepting of him, and just to be able to see that kind of light at the end of the tunnel and to know that it gets better. And I will say that just thinking about it kind of gets me a little bit choked up to think about how family friendly and wholesome these events actually are, and how beautiful it is to see kids who, like a previous speaker said, often end up being the ones who are out on the streets because their families reject them. But to see a lot of these kids come to these events with their parents who love them and who accept them, and just to see how beautiful that is. So wholeheartedly want to support Redwood Pride, but also because I'm at a city council meeting and I feel like it should be something that's applicable to the city of Eureka. I do want to suggest that, you could go, I know that you have made proclamations about supporting Pride Month, and, proclamations about diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I would say you could go a little further and reaffirm that, and make sure that everybody in our community feels safe and welcome and valued. You could have a resolution or a proclamation. I would let you decide. And I would say that also another thing that could be done is any new bathrooms that are built in the city of Eureka, which hopefully there will be new public bathrooms coming soon because we need them, would also be gender neutral and open to anybody who, whatever their gender identity is. And so thank you.
Hi, y'all. My name is Calder Johnson. I'm the Managing Artistic Director of the North Coast Repertory Theater. And I'm just here tonight to personally, but also on behalf of my organization, offer my warmest support and regard for Redwood Pride, for Black Humboldt, for the event that they put on, and for the Ink people for supporting them and being the network by which they can do their work in the community. It's difficult because I firmly believe in the power of conversation and the power of community. And community is a very strong word. Community means we all are in it together, even when we don't agree with one another, especially when we don't agree with one another. That's the most important thing. Community means we are all in it together. And that's why when I hear rhetoric, even how in the heat of the moment or how extreme it may be, it's saying things like, well, we're going to run these people out of town. That to me is the most fundamental betrayal of the concept of community right there. We're better than that. We have to be better than that. We have to work together. No matter even sometimes if we don't like each other, but we're in a community together. Being safe with one another is the most important thing. Safety is job one. Which also is why I want to give a huge thank you to all of the members of EPD who are here tonight and were also at the event in question. And I want to thank all of you, city staff, city council members. Thank you. I understand it is a difficult thing. Difficult times we're in, and I appreciate your work. I appreciate you. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
I just wanted to start off by saying that after the presentation by the WEOT representative, it seems like y'all should be contracting them with them for your low-income housing projects. Apparently, they're going to provide something like 39 units for what sounds like just a few $100,000, whereas you guys want to spend 30 million of our dollars on 31 units. Maybe you should contract with them and let them do your work from now on. They get a lot more bang for the buck, it sounds like. Beyond that, I had a few other things I want to talk about, but apparently this is all going to be about the Halloween thing. And I went down there myself just to see what's going on. And I think it's really strange that the news agencies around here, the Humboldt Human Rights Commission has gotten involved because of this hate speech that was going on and violence and everything. And what I saw from the outside, I wasn't over there with the group that got involved with everything. I was just down there just having conversations with people, which kept getting interrupted by people getting in my face, aggressively yelling about the indoctrination of the church and a bunch of stuff that we weren't even talking about. But what I saw was a group of people sitting peacefully over there by the sidewalk who were accosted by a number of people coming out of the event. The first yelling was started by the people coming from the event. The first blow was struck by somebody coming from the event. The first blood was drawn by somebody coming from the event. Yes, it got heated. There were people yelling and screaming back and forth. But like I said, it was instigated and begun by the people from the event. And I didn't blame the people who reacted in anger because they were being taunted and they were being yelled at. I had a hard time keeping my temper myself. I was trying to have one-on-one conversations with people about various things, and I had and repeatedly people came up to me, stepped right up to my face, interrupted the conversation I was having, and started yelling at me about something that we weren't even talking about. And as has been pointed out by a couple of people, no one was down there to denigrate anyone's lifestyle. As I told Leslie during the event, I have a person in my life who thought she was trans, who was encouraged to believe she was trans by state social workers, and they nearly destroyed her life. She pulled out of it, and now she's doing fine. So I have personal history with that myself. And no one was down there because they hate anyone that's gay or anything else. They were down there because of the drag show for kids, and that was it. And that's what needs to be remembered.
Thank you. Side note.
Good evening, members of council, members of the public. My name is Mark Conkler. I live here in Eureka, have for many years. Very glad to see that Redwood Pride put on the event. Unfortunately, I was unable to make it, but I wanted to throw my support behind Redwood Pride and the other organizers of the event, the attendees of the event, and the people who participated peacefully and provided for a good time for everybody and provided a place of inclusively and it was very well run event. Unfortunately, some protesters decided to show up and make a unfortunate show out of things. But just know to the community out there, you have very much my support. You have the support of a lot of people in this community. You have the support of many people who aren't here tonight, many people who I work from my own professional work. So just know that. In the city of Eureka, I want to thank you for your continued support. And I look forward to more events like this. And hopefully the city can continue to really engage the community as well. It's the best thing forward for everybody here. I wish that detractors of this sort of event would open their minds a little bit to the positive aspects of events such as these and bringing people together into a safe place and being together as a community. And so look forward, like I said, to more support from the city council and members of the public. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Can I do a quick time check, Pam or Shannon? Okay, so we'll do 2 more people, and then we'll postpone until the end of the meeting.
Hello, David Cobb, now speaking in my individual capacity. I am a resident of Eureka, and I'm reminded that we the people are hallowed words in this country. They're the first 3 words of the Constitution. They remind us that when we do it right, it means that we together are governing ourselves, not you as elected officials, but our community is governing ourselves. And when things like Redwood Pride and the Ink people and the Jefferson Center allow an opportunity for all people to come together, regardless of sexual orientation or gender, that's when we're doing it right. I am so glad to see so many people standing up in support of our LGBT community. I like to say I'm straight, but I'm not narrow. And I really appreciate those people in the community who make this such a wonderful place. And I want to thank Redwood Pride. I want to thank the Ink people. I want to thank Jefferson. And I want to thank all the others who came up to show their support. Peace.
Thank you. So we'll take 1 more from this side, and then we will, we're going to close public comment until the end of the meeting after this one. So.
Hi, I am Liberty Lady from Lost Coast Populist. That's lostcoastpopulist.com. After reading Jen Clover's letter in the Outpost, I emailed everyone here to clarify that why the protesters were at the Halloween drag show. Jim called the event a family-friendly Halloween party. I've heard that repeated a few times tonight. Ignoring the fact that the poster advertising the event says drag show all ages. So the protesters were not protesting the LGBTQ plus community. I can speak for a large majority of patriots in this community and say that we have no issue with the LGBT plus community. We just don't. But what the protesters took issue with indecent exposure in front of children. What's wrong with that? I'm sure there are lots of parents that I'm looking at right now. Is there something wrong with having a problem with indecent exposure in front of children? So labeling concerned parents as a hate group, I believe, is dangerous and divisive. Thank you.
Thank you.
City Council friends, neighbors, thank you for this opportunity to comment. My name is Atticus. I'm an educator, a carpenter, a combat vet, a volunteer. I'm a Eurekan, and I'm also transgender. However the opposition may feel about me or my queer community, they are still my neighbors, and I am theirs. Despite our disagreements, I hold a duty to them because they are my neighbors. You need a cup of sugar or help change a tire? I'm your neighbor. Call me. I'm disappointed by the opposition's behavior at our recent community event, but I'm not prepared to demonize them because they are my neighbors. I believe that understanding begins with grace, and that faith in humanity compels me to seek an intersection of our values. How fortunate am I to have neighbors so willing to assume the charge to protect children in our community? Unfortunately, like anxiety, this concern has been provoked by a caricature, a distortion, Xerox of a talking point that is not new or novel. We are not out to abuse your children. We are not here to recruit your heterosexuals. So I will offer you this small understanding of what we do for the youth in our community in hopes that you can see that we do share neighborly values with you, and perhaps we can talk civilly over ribs and beer. Humboldt Smokehouse recently had a fire. We can go patronize them. That'd be great. To that end, I would like to draw your attention to gay conversion therapy, a practice that has been largely discredited as ineffective and condemned as harmful. The threat that conversion therapy poses is the notion of prescriptive identities, the idea that there is a right way to exist. To tell a child that they must be queer would be equally damaging as forcing a queer child to repress and deny their truth. Again, we are not here to recruit your children. However, the statistical reality is that queer youth experience ostracization, rejection, and violence at significantly higher rates than their straight peers. This tragedy motivates us to forge a community so as to not leave those children discarded, forgotten, and alone. How fortunate you must be to have neighbors so willing to assume the responsibility to protect the most vulnerable children in our community. As for the art of drag, I would like to point to the Batman effect, a well-studied psychological effect in which individuals find inner strength through an alter ego, resulting in habits of self-reflection, a stable sense of identity, and a honed emotional regulation. Skills desperately needed by our youth. The experimentation of clothes, voice, and dance serves as armor. This is no different than a footballer stepping into pads, into a nickname, and onto a field. Or a nervous speaker asking themselves, what would Bayard say? Applause for the drag performers celebrates their growth as human beings as well as their sequins. And lastly, I'll leave you with this. Shame is a poison. Pride is the cure. Hate has built nothing.
Thank you. Over here on the left-hand side. Yeah, that's you.
Good evening. Thanks for this opportunity. My name's Kate Trower. I'm not a resident of Eureka. It's the only place in Humboldt County I have not lived. My family is from Honeydew, and I currently reside in Lolita. But I do think Eureka has, as the county seat, has an opportunity to provide safe spaces for rural queer youth and adults as well. I have been involved in Redwood Pride, the predecessor, Humboldt Pride, a variety of local organizations building community. And there's definitely a need for those opportunities. So I applaud any effort that this organization has to provide those spaces. There's been comment about the police presence, and I don't want to take away from that, but I do feel I'm obligated to say that not everyone is made to feel safer or welcomed, even in times of crisis, by law enforcement. That's a challenge, perhaps not necessarily for this group to deal with, but for the nonprofit organizations that are serving the community, needing to be aware of that. It's something that caused a implosion or the loss of the previous Pride organization, one of many things. Just not listening to the voices of the people that aren't as comfortable moving through the space of our society. I, as a first responders kid, feel an allyship to law enforcement, but not everyone moves through this world the way I do. So I understand that there are different reactions to law enforcement. So I just wanted to just put that nuance on the table. Also feel that the entertainment and art of drag is a pretty broad spectrum. I just checked, my phone's going to die, so I can't read it, but the Merriam-Webster's dictionary does not cite sexualization anywhere in their definition. It talks about entertainment, costumes, performance. I've been to youth drag events, and they are full of inspiring youngsters with stage presence, choreography, makeup, theatrical courage to get on stage when they perhaps wouldn't feel that way, without some encouragement from peers and mentors. And it is, I think, just a bit of a narrow slice of drag as an art form that has been presented tonight by some other folks. And I guess that's it. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Hi, April Nikolai, Director of Redwood Pride, and just want to thank you all for your assistance and help and the opportunity to be here and listening to what everybody else has to say, because a lot of it's been very heartfelt, and a lot of it's been very felt in the heart by a lot of people, and it's been kind of amazing, honestly, a little overwhelming. And as far as in the future, if there's going to be drag shows, one of the things we're heavily considering is labeling it. Like movie ratings, they'll have ratings. That way, if, say, a show is rated PG, if somebody wants to protest a PG drag show, that's fine. Then they can take it up with the parents of children that may be there, because parental guidance suggested is just that. And if it's G, well, then it's going to be G. There's not going to be even a hint of anything risque. It'll just be people dressing up for fun, which a lot of the part is. Some people take it very seriously, and credit to them. and it would be great to see more of that. And there was the mention of a proclamation, and I was going to say, if you guys want to give us a proclamation coming in June, we'd appreciate that for Queer Recognition Month. I don't know if we had gotten one from the city of Eureka, or if it's been a while, but more than willing to receive that again in June. And I really don't have a whole lot to say, just very appreciative, and I want to make sure that there's enough time for all the people on Zoom as well.
Thank you. I think we have one more in-house.
Hi, my name's Dwayne Leal. I live here in Eureka. I wear a veil, I'm a drag nun also. I go by the name Sister Juana Little, and one of the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. I'm not here to talk about them, but we were criticized, along with most of you members of the council and the police, Jefferson School, public health. Oh, I could go on and on. But getting back to being a sister, we raise money for charity. We've been doing this 15 or so many years, I don't remember. But I don't take my clothes off. I'm just too fat, I guess, and too old. But none of us do. And it isn't fair. You know, these parents were there to have a good time. And here they're called pedophiles and all this other stuff. And I was threatened. Others were threatened. I didn't see any blood. But I am grateful that we were allowed to come together as a community. I would hope next year the council members would be there, the mayor, and our future supervisor. It would be nice. But since I am a sister, and not getting on a religious tangent here, but I saw organized hate under the name of religion. I'm a baptized Christian, and I was taught thou shalt not lie. And one of those other laws was thou shalt not bear a false witness against your neighbor. And that's exactly what I saw. And I wish those who were wearing hats talking about grooming, on a side note, I don't wear hats indoors. We were groomed not to, but they left right away after they slashed and burned. Please be there next year. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And now we have our online folks. So do you have an order for them, or do we want to?
I'll just go across what I'm seeing. Logan.
Hi, my name's Logan Ashworth. I am not a resident of Eureka, but I really appreciate the opportunity to come here and give my support for Redwood Pride and support for the council members. I see your outfits. I hear you. Thank you. I want to say that it was so amazing that there's an opportunity presented by the Ink people and by Redwood Pride to have a celebration. I remember being 16 and wanting to wear a long wig and heels and sing to Little Mermaid. Like, it's amazing that there's such an opportunity that exists for our youth. And it is exciting to see that that's an opportunity, no matter its opposition, will forever be around. Times are changing, and resistance always comes with change, but it's incredibly exciting to see such progress, and just tonight the love and support that exists for the community. I have to admit I felt uncomfortable coming given this environment, but from everything I've been seeing here, it's amazing how much support the community has for the queer community as a whole. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Sandy.
Hi, my name is Sandy Lynn, and I live in Eureka. And I'm here as a member of the Raging Grannies. We participated in the Pride event in Eureka on October 23rd. And I'm here to express my appreciation of the city of Eureka for supporting such events. The Grannies feel strongly that diversity is important for a healthy community and a better world, which includes making an effort for respectful dialogue to work out our differences. And I have a Raging Granny song to share. Hold on. In our land there's a rainbow, people all colors, lighter and darker, gay, straight, short and tall, Muslim, Jew and Christian, Buddhist, Hindu, Baha'i, First Peoples and newcomers, rainbows in our sky. It matters not how families form, for love is love, should be the norm. Love's healing. It matters not what words we say, Creator, Allah, Goddess, God, Love, Spirit, gleaming. In our land there's a rainbow, no room for strife, each one respected and valued, each a gift of life.
Thank you very much.
Sue?
Okay. Well, I'm a granny too, and I had a different song to sing, but you don't really need to hear my song. But except I will say it's to the tune of Battle Hymn of the Republic, and it's called Gender Rights Are Human Rights. And when we performed before the demonstrators got there, and we're sorry that we didn't get to sing it to them because we think it would have been fun to sing to them. You know, we're sort of the opposite of what they think is going on there. And yeah, and that's all I have to say, because we know you're basically supportive, and we really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Liam?
Hello, my name is Liam Rosh. My pronouns are they, she, and I'm a Arcata resident. It's really awesome to see that we...
You just muted yourself again, I think.
Oh, sorry about that. Thanks for the heads up. It's really great to see that we have, as members of the LGBTQIA plus Two-Spirit community, have support from the community. And I guess one reason I wanted to come on here was just to say that, to anyone who's saying that this is, I was at the event, I left right as the protesters got there. And anyone who says that groomers or pedophiles or trying to make straight kids queer, as a kid who grew up thinking they were straight and cisgender, and the problems that resulted from trying to stuff that down. I'm an alcoholic and a drug addict, and I've suffered with suicidal tendencies, and the only reason I bring that up is because, it's really amazing for me to be able to go to events like that and see kids feeling comfortable in being who they are. And I think, you can brand us however you want, but to me, if I can see kids feeling comfortable the way that they were born and the way that they are, and feeling comfortable in their skins without needing to turn to pills or bottles or needles, or feel like they need to end their own lives because of the way that they're made. I think that's really, really important. And, when I go to a drag show, I go to some of the ones at Kiki Planet here in Arcata, where it is all ages, and it's the same kind of feeling. You know, if I'd have been able to see people being visibly gender nonconforming as a teen, that would have changed so many things for me. I didn't know that was a possibility for me for so long, and I just feel like I needed to share that this is suicide prevention. That's what these family events are. They are suicide prevention. They are addiction prevention. And opposition to them, you know, you can brand us as pedophiles, you can brand us as groomers, but ultimately, like, we can't change who we are. It doesn't hurt anyone. And stuffing it down doesn't work. And that's all I really have to say.
Thank you very much. All right. Do we have another?
Are there any other public comments on Zoom?
We have somebody
here? No.
Oh, Linda is trying to.
Go ahead and unmute, Linda.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, hi, and thank you for my chance to finally speak to you. I want to thank you for listening to everyone today. I've been an LGBTQIA ally for many, many years. 62 years, actually. So I wasn't always real active, and I was for a while, and with my help, well, I guess COVID's kind of put me back too. But I was there at the Halloween Pride. Our church had a table because our church is very LGBTQIA, so we had a table there, and right in the beginning, we were told that they were expecting protesters. And then later on, I saw these people. I also sing with the grannies. It would have been nice if we could have sang to them, but we weren't able to. But when the protesters came, and I know some people said that they're not against the lifestyle, they're just against I don't know. Oh, I guess what people do to the children, but there were so many children at this. And one boy I know of, he's 18, he's transgendered, or he's in the process, and he was so happy to be there and see other people and to be free. I think it's a wonderful thing that Humboldt Pride puts on. And I thank you for allowing all these people to talk on both sides. And I'm thankful the police kept peace there that day. I feel I've been a protester for years myself, but when I protest, I just take a sign and I walk up and down in front of, the courthouse or wherever with the sign saying how I feel, but I don't call people names, and I don't know. I don't get loud. So thank you for hearing me, and thank you for being there.
Thank you.
William?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, former President Bill Clinton here, and I really appreciate you folks supporting this kind of event. I really support you completely not acknowledging the fact that there are pictures of someone exposing their underwear at this event. And I really, really support the fact that people are only talking about kids that are like teenager trans kids, not really impressionable 3-year-olds. Because that's the people that would really, take on the conditioning or the grooming, as they say. So I just wanted to show my support for that and tell you my deep concerns are gratified by your appreciations of this. Thank you. Bye.
All right. I think that's our last. It looks like our last public commenter.
I believe so. Is there any more public comment on Zoom?
I know.
No.
So, unfortunately, that was not, that was an unfortunate way to end with people abusing this, the forum, which clearly they were. Just before we go into council reports, I just want to say something. When I did my mayor's report, I really wanted to say something about this issue, but I recognize there's a power dynamic, and it probably wouldn't have been appropriate for me to talk about it before public speakers had a chance to say what they had to say. And I'm glad I didn't, because I was so angry at the beginning. I think I would have said things that would have maybe only made things worse. And with the exception of a few people, today was really heartening. I really feel like, once again, Eureka showed a lot of the best of itself and came up and stood together. How we can have somebody say, I have a right to hate, but don't call me a hate group, was kind of interesting. But what we heard a lot more was people talking about how to love each other, and how to support each other, and how to make people feel safe. On an evening where, quite frankly, we were really worried about people feeling not safe. And it just goes to show that when everybody comes together in a good-natured way, it kind of chases away some of the negative energy. So I really do appreciate the way the conversation went tonight. So much better than I expected. Not perfect, but thank you for showing up. So now we're going to do our council member reports, and we will start down with Councilmember Castellana.
Okay. I just want to thank everyone who came out tonight. I too feel just really appreciative of living in a community where people come out to support one another, and where we're in just so much admiration for the diversity of people in our community, and through all of the contributions of people who to culture, to art and culture that people in the LGBTQ plus community make. Someone who works in the performing arts, art culture would not be what it is today without contributions, from community members. So thank you. And if, in terms of what I've been up to, I did attend the Redwood Pride event. And I also attended the California Economic Summit Cal Forward conference in Bakersfield, where I attended a creative economy session as well as a housing session, and was able to really advocate for more state funding for cities for housing. So that was one of the things I was doing there. It was kind of fun. The governor was present, as well as Senator Wiener and Assemblymember Bucky Wilkes, and Senator Allen, who wrote the Creative Workforce Act, was there as well, along with members of Californians for the Arts. And let's see, I did find out at that conference that there's a program coming out next year that there'll have to be loaners in our area who are Cal HFA certified, who are willing to carry the loan, but will provide it's a pilot program, so I'm hoping we can qualify here and get it going, but basically we'll provide the down payment for low-income households, like first-time home buyers. And so I would be so excited to work to bring that here. So anyway, but I found out about it. So that's why going to conferences is important, because sometimes you get these little nuggets. I attended the first participatory budgeting session and was just really inspired by so many people's ideas for how to contribute to the community. And so I look forward to continuing with that. The next meeting for that is November 7th. Let's see. And upcoming this Thursday, there's a NORCAN mixer, so Northern California Association for Nonprofits mixer. And then I just want to invite folks, perhaps you're here, there's a regional arts meeting on Wednesday, the 16th of November from 12 to 4 with Californians from the Arts from Sacramento here in town visiting to really, and as well as the folks who are doing the kind of some work around arts and workforce development. And so hopefully folks will come to that because, finding out about some programs that will offer funding for artists in the community. And then I'll be hosting a housing roundtable on November 17th from 4 to 6 p.m. So folks can reach out with me for that. And I think, I don't know, maybe that's all I've been up to. That's good for now.
Councilmember Moulton.
Thank you. Let's see, as far as council business or city business, I attended the COP board, the Citizen Oversight on Police Practices board meeting via Zoom, just to see how they were getting along now that they're up and running. It was very encouraging to watch that transparency and accountability be built into the system and the attitudes of the folks that are doing that work. I'm very, very encouraged. And that leads me to, I would like to congratulate Assistant Chief or Chief Stevens for his promotions. I continue to be impressed. Yes, I continue to be impressed by the evolution of the EPD, and I'm so happy to see that your qualities and leadership have been recognized and that our best are rising to the top. So congratulations to you. On to the topic of the evening. I identify as queer, and I am a parent, and I am, that's probably the first time I've said that in public, so thank you guys. I just wanted to say that trans kids are 8 times more likely to commit suicide than other kids, and I'm generally opposed to that. I work with a lot of youth and a lot of trans kids who are just afraid to be themselves. And any time that they can see any kind of representation, then that's just one less kid that wants to kill themselves, and I like that.
Councilmember Arroyo. Councilmember Castellano, did you have something else that you forgot?
Sorry, yes. Okay, so I participated in this, we have a sister city with Kamisu, and I got 3 letters back from Kamisu, and I just wanted to read one section because it feels really pertinent to tonight. And so if you want to pen pal in Kamisu, that's an opportunity. Let's see. I want the children of Kamisu to make friends in Eureka. They need friends abroad. This is because I believe if people from different cultures could get to understand one another, know what they love or how they live, that friendship may become a help to keep peace and prevent wars.
Okay, well, I'll touch on a couple of things that are recently happened or happening. First, the city is going through a participatory budgeting process. So we had our first meeting on Tuesday the 25th, and we'll have a couple more subsequent meetings. And so we have a group of people who applied to participate, residents from all over the city of Eureka. And that process was really exciting. The ideas that were generated, we're starting with a budget of $75,000 this round, and community members are helping to decide how to spend it effectively to address their concerns. So I think some people maybe thought $75,000 was more than it was. Some of the ideas were really big, but it was really cool to hear people's ideas about what could be what could be better and how that could be effectively spent. And there were a lot of really good and really cool ideas that came out of it. And so it just sparks so much interest in finding more ways to engage the public in our decision making in ways that are fun and inclusive for them. So I look forward to the next couple meetings. The first one was held via Zoom. The second one will also be held via Zoom. And then the third one will be in person. And my understanding is that people can participate in that last one, even if they weren't selected for the committee. Is that true? I'm looking at Assistant City Manager Powell for guidance. Can people participate in the last participatory budgeting session? Okay, so that one will be live and in person at the Wharfinger in December.
On December 15th, I believe, but let me double check.
And at my calendar right now,
yes, they can.
15th.
There should be a prioritized list that's developed at that point in time, and then there'll be community input about that list that will be taken back to council for consideration.
Cool. So that'll be the kind of final community round of input on December 15th at the Wharfinger from 5:30 to 7:30. So just a chance for people to kind of see that process in action. And I'm really excited about that and the opportunities it offers for the future. I also attended the Senator McGuire's Great Redwood Trail meeting that was held online. I'm really excited about the Great Redwood Trail and the opportunities it offers. But also, if people haven't been following that issue as closely as this trail nerd has, I will say that every other potential use of the rail has been deemed not financially viable. So there were several proposals to use it for a variety of things, and none of those have panned out. And so the writing is on the wall. It will be a trail, and it'll be a big potential economic development driver for our region, and offer like a through hiking opportunity that is going to be really new and different for the North Coast. So I'm excited about that. And I also wanted to say thank you for the invitation to come to future Pride events. I am sorry that I missed this last one, and I was ruminating on how sorry I was over that weekend. I was on military duty, so I was out of town, and I was speaking to a fellow reserve officer who's a police officer on the outside, and who's also a queer person, about my sadness for not being able to be there. And then we got into this great conversation about what civic leadership and military leadership means to us. And it was really cool to talk to someone about those perspectives who I think has like I don't want to say a less common perspective, but just maybe wasn't the most mainstream perspective, and about what it means to serve domestically and to serve in your own community and to do your best to protect people's freedoms. And that meant a lot to me to be able to reflect on it in that way, because sometimes I feel like that's a very separate part of my life. And from especially now that I serve out of Humboldt County as a military officer. So I will do my best to show up in the future. And thank you for being here tonight. This was a very moving meeting. And as somebody mentioned, we weren't really a part of the event. So, but this is a space where people can come and talk about what happened and what's important to them. And I really appreciate that we can offer that space in that public forum. And everything that happens in Eureka is ultimately part of what we're about. And I also really want to finally just appreciate EPD for their role in helping to keep the peace and their willingness to participate in conversations about what that looks like in the future. I know that it hasn't always been easy to have police presence at Pride events. And so I would invite folks to participate in defining what that should look like in the future. And I know we're receptive.
Councilmember Bauer.
Thank you. I got to help the Eureka High Boosters a couple times now, barbecue for hundreds of people. And I just want to shout out to food servers, because that's the hardest job in the world, is to cook like 200 burgers an hour or whatever we were doing. It's such hard work. And I want to shout out to Scott and Rachel Pesh, who donate countless hours to support youth sports, which is really important to me. And I think really it's a great thing for our kids to be involved in, you know. We had a RCEA board meeting. And as you know, with the wind energy happening, there's a lot of big stuff going on. And so we're always talking about, you know, what's next for Humboldt. I think there's 4,000 jobs coming, which talk about a housing issue, and a medical care issue and all the other things that go with that. It's going to be something we're all going to have to be involved in, on so many different levels. I had a great meeting with EPD down at the Bridge District, and I want to thank them for helping, you know, look at solutions to the problems that face our city. They're a wealth of knowledge, and I think we can do some good things in the Bridge District, trying to work on some solutions down there. And then I have to throw in my 2 cents. You know, I heard somebody basically call himself a patriot today, as if a patriot is one that we're not patriots. All of us here aren't patriots. And I think of a patriot as one that loves their country, but more importantly, respects and loves everybody in their community. And I just find that kind of funny that, you know, we're not patriots because we don't feel the kind of disdain they may have for people that are different than them. So just my little 2 cents on what it means to be a patriot. And thank you all for coming, and you know, really appreciate you guys, everybody out there. Thanks.
Mayor Seaman, we did have a public speaker who is on a phone number and so wasn't able to raise their hand. So if the last digit 6742 would like to make public comment now, please go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Thank you. Thank you. So I wasn't able to speak earlier. I appreciate you guys fitting me in. My name is Michelle Constantine, and you with this question. So I want to know why our current Eureka City Council would endorse a known anarchist. It's a serious question. The guy has literally organized protests and rallies against the Eureka Police Department, a group that has vandalized businesses and cars during the protest. If you are going to run a campaign on integrity, might I suggest you start by looking at the definition? The guy could not even, or would not even, answer the question when he was asked. He uses a fake name on the news as if no one can see who he is. He is a part of a group that tried to dox and bully a local business owner for saying there is another way. He is a part of a group that just protested a cleanup, a local cleanup here in Eureka of a private property. The protesters were yelling and screaming derogatory names to the people that are cleaning up the trash left by campers, yelling at the volunteers cleaning up the mess. This guy gets elected, the police department will have no support. He and several others on this council want to defund the police by reallocating funds that we do not have to mental health rather than more officers and more training. I don't know when the last time any of you called the police, but when I did just a couple of weeks ago, it took over 20 minutes and the situation was extremely serious, borderline emergency. If you live in Ward 3, I hope you are paying attention. Because why would an anarchist want to be on the city council? Thank you.
All right. So back to our final council member report.
I'm not sure if I can follow that. Oh, goodness. Well, for my report, it's pretty brief. Seems to me lately I've been on the funeral circuit. It's been really sucks pretty hard. That's what I've been doing. But one thing I did want to share about that was that one of our local I don't know. I would even almost call her an icon of this city for a long time. Itzy Frank. She used to panhandle at McDonald's. Everybody knew her. She was the raisin lady. She was the protector of young women out in the streets, and she was an incredibly kind and wonderful person. But she passed last week, and I just want to honor her because, you know, she helps so many people. I mean, we think, you know, that somebody's on the street and they can't make a difference. And I'm here to tell you that that is garbage. There are people like Itzy, there are people, a lot of people out there that make a huge impact on people every single day. And I want to honor that. Now to the more fun stuff. I got to go to, because Susan was sick, and I'm sorry for that, but I got to go to the ribbon cutting at the Area 1 for aging. And that was really neat, seeing all the people and seeing their new location. And finally, one of my favorite events of the year, Boo at the Zoo. I got to be the candy man. And so I went around and delivered candy to everybody as they were walking through the zoo. And, you know, what a gift we have in our community to have so many opportunities for people to come together in positive, healthy, fun, exciting ways. And I guess I'll put my 2 cents in too. It was extremely disappointing to me that people felt the need to go to a Halloween event and create chaos instead of harmony, and then to attack verbally and social media wise people that participated in that event and that made a fun and happy day for a lot of people. Thank you. This kind of craziness is just, it's unacceptable. It's just unacceptable. And I am so grateful and thankful to all the people that came out and shared tonight and talked about their experience. And, you know, in counting, you know, because I'm like, sit here and I take tallies sometimes of, you know, who's commenting and who's not commenting. And it was great to see that, at least in this forum, that love wins. That there were, you know, 4 or 5 of those folks that were really, you know, negative. And hopefully we can work with them to have conversations to enlighten each other and, you know, build on where we do agree. Because I'm sure that there are places that we all agree that we can start. But if we're up here in the divisiveness, we're never going to get there. So, you know, whether it's a clean city, a safe city, whatever, you know, let's work together and kind of figure this out. At least if we can't figure it out, be respectful in our conversations. It's just ridiculous. It really is. And it's upsetting to listen to, frankly, you know. I just want to say one more thing about that. I really appreciate my last 2 voter appreciation parties. I've had drag queens there, and they've had lots of family members there. And it's been a great thing. And we got an email that said, would you take your child to a drag thing? And I 100% all day, every day, whether they were 2, whether they were 15, whether there was, you know, whatever the expression that they used, 100% in support. Drop the mic.
And on that note, we shall adjourn.
Drag Queen Story Hour, which started as a small fringe phenomenon in San Francisco in 2015, is now sweeping the land. This is where parents bring their young children to a public library to be read to by a drag queen. The public libraries, of course, are happily welcoming these events. In Minnesota's Hennepin County Library System, these Drag Queen Story Hours now occur regularly. On October 17th, one such story hour was occurring in the Ridgedale Public Library in Minnetonka. The drag queen, who called herself Sasha Soda, walked in with high heels, a pink skirt, and a shirt that exposed his midsection. According to an attendee, the drag queen strode suggestively past the children, sitting down in a chair before several preschool-age girls with his legs spread wide, exposing his nylon-covered crotch in front of the children sitting at eye level. First off, why the double standard? In any other setting, if an adult exposed their crotch to children, they'd be in jail. Our politicians should get Drag Queen Story Hour out of the libraries. If that means cutting the library's funding, then so be it. It isn't just Sasha Soda Minnesota who's problematic. A brief search of various drag queen storytime performers reveals a consistent trend of both highly sexualized and ghoulish outfits. One performer, pictured, has about 5 white horns with red tips on his head. And don't for one second think that Drag Queen Story Hour will stop here. If left unattended to, Drag Queen Storytime will soon be in the public schools. It's also a mistake to think that this issue is confined to Drag Queen Storytime and not see the big picture. Across the country, child drag queens are a growing phenomenon. Desmond is amazing is an 11-year-old boy who has received glowing media attention despite clear and convincing evidence that his parents are financially profiting from his exploitation. How on earth does an 11-year-old decide to be a drag queen without heavy adult manipulation? These child drag queens do suggestive shows in front of adult men in bars as the men sip their drinks and watch. Where is Child Protection Services? Speaking of children being influenced by adults, there's also a growing trend of young children being given life-altering hormone blockers at an early age. The latest example of this is 7-year-old James Younger, which is only a public controversy because his father doesn't want to give the 7-year-old hormone blockers. Never mind the fact that the results are in an early treatment of gender dysphoria to the extent it even could exist in a young child without an adult manipulating the child has a terrible track record. It's unnecessary because children grow out of their dysphoria, and it's incredibly damaging because of the terrible and life-changing side effects that often ensue. Common adverse reactions include severe joint pain, like the type you experience when you're 80, but actually when these kids are in their early teens, and severe depression. Part of the story is a growing acceptance of transgenderism, which is the left's next crusade in the culture war. But the transgender lifestyle, especially for biological men, often comes with heavy drug use and high-risk sexual behavior. The average lifespan of a transgendered person is about 30 years. The uncompassionate, who are pretending to be compassionate, say this shorter lifespan is because of the discrimination transgendered people face. If society only were more accepting, they say, trans people would do better. Yet the lifestyle choices of transgendered people, who are deeply hurting and wounded due to many private reasons, say otherwise.
I said I hate my life. My life is nothing but doing drugs, prostitution. I don't like myself. How did I get to this point? How did I end up with breast implants? I looked down at myself, I said, how did I end up with all this stuff? Why do I have all this confusion in my mind?
But there's even more here than a growing acceptance of transgenderism. Ultimately, the far left is pushing the increased sexualization of American children. That's not acceptable. Here's what our politicians need to do. Number 1, ban hormone blockers for young children at least under the age of 16. Number 2, ban the exploitation of children. That means child drag shows and the pageants that young girls are forced to endure. With Alpha News, I'm Willis Krumholtz.